So, hello and good evening and welcome. My name's Simon Canning. I'm the chair of the Hydrographic Society in Scotland, and I'd like to welcome you all to the rerun of our 2021 AGM. So, thanks very much for joining us and sticking with us again. We appreciate that. We had some technical issues at our last meeting, which look to be resolved now. So, Damien, if you could bring up the presentation, that'd be appreciated. So, okay, folks, I don't anticipate us being too long this evening, but equally, I don't anticipate that we'll be breaking our former chairman Andy Dare's records of about 5 minutes flat for an AGM. We'll just be having a kind of a technical AGM this year, I guess. So without further ado, our agenda this evening is the approval of previous minutes. We'll have highlights from the chairman's report. We'll also have highlights from Kevin Gaffney, who will be presenting some highlights from the Treasurer's report. We'll have election of office bearers and committee members, and we'll finish off with any other business. So in the email invitation I sent, you should all have had full copies of the previous minutes, Chairman's report, Treasurer's report, and the list of office bearers and committee members seeking election again for 2021. So we'll have several motions to pass this evening, and we'll do that, as I said in the email, using the YouTube comments. So at the appropriate moment, I'll invite one of you guys to propose. And if you could just write your full name and propose. I think actually your name does come up, but if you just write your full name just in case and propose, and at the next moment we'll need a seconder, so I'll invite somebody to second. And if you could again just write your full name and second, and we'll see how we go from there. I'll read out the person's name, proposer and seconder, and Laura up in Dallas will put that into the minutes for the 2021 AGM. So let's have a practice. So our first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from 2020. So may I have somebody to propose the approval of the minutes from 2020, please? There might be a bit of a delay with the comments coming through to my end, but I don't have anybody as yet. So could we have a proposer for the 2020 minutes, please? I guess you've all rushed and I'm getting a delay. Okay, Laura proposed and Andy seconded. So thanks very much, guys. Apologies if there's any technical hitches or delays and lack of silent airspace. So thanks, guys. That was a good practice. So on with just highlights from the chairman's report. Like I say, I sent a full copy of that in the email invitation. So this year we've had continued excellent support from our members, our corporate members, and also our event sponsors throughout 2020. The committee has grown by 3 members, so we're up to 28 members for the committee now. Our year started in January and February. We had our usual face-to-face meetings in January and Feb, and we kicked off the year with our AGM, and we had a set of excellent presentations from 3D Viz Lab at Dundee University, and around mid-February or so, we had an evening entitled The Role of GIS in Disaster Relief. So late February, we had our ever successful, ever popular annual members dinner. It was a record breaker this year. We had 236 guests, and we raised over £5,000 for Map Action and North Aberdeenshire Food Bank. We had comedy from TV's Dave Fulton, and I mean, our outgoing chairman Andy has commented to be careful, so I won't say anything about his comedy, but I will say thanks to Dave and Andy for providing the evening's entertainment. Our event sponsors were Ashted, STR, Andrews Survey, Oceaneering, iTech Unique, Sonodyne and InterOcean. So thanks very much to our sponsors for the annual members dinner, and thanks to Nikki and Andy and the committee at large for organising such a spectacular evening. So we moved on into March, which saw the cancellation of all our face-to-face events. We had to cancel our Hydrofest event, our schools event, and of course our evening meetings. However, despite this, despite these challenges, the Hydrographic Society and our colleagues in Norway held 4 evening meetings. We had about 50 to 100 participants. So thank you to our speakers. Thank you to the Hydrographic Society for organising that in conjunction with Norwegian Offshore Survey and Positioning Forum. That would predominantly be Selena and Stuart Duncan from NOSP. April, we had I've said it's a smorgasbord of events. It was a non-titled evening, a non-themed evening. The theme was you could present anything. So June, we had innovation and standards, industry update, and August, advances in subsea ROV ops. And in October, we had seeing the value in metocean data. So again, thanks to Hydrographic Society Committee, NOSP, and our presenters for those evening meetings. Nominally, in April, we would have our Hydrofest event. That's usually a face-to-face event with universities from UK and Ireland and industry delegates, and that's usually at Aberdeen University for a day. However, we cancelled it this year, but we received some information, I guess, from William Kelly at Glasgow University, who reminded us that the Hydrofest material and the presentations within Hydrofest form part of the Glasgow University hydrographic course. So in order not to disappoint the students who would usually come from Glasgow, Andy Smith from the Hydrographic Society and William Kelly organised our speakers to do voiceovers on their presentations, and we then supplied these to Glasgow University, and Andy and William coordinated Q&A, I suppose hard copy on paper Q&A between the students and the presenters, and so that worked really well. And really, we've got to thank Andy, the committee, and William at Glasgow Uni for turning round such excellent presentations, excellent voiceovers, and providing the information to the students. So thanks, guys, for that. In September, we had our ever popular, again, all our events are so popular, our popular annual golf event. We had 10 teams of 3 this year. And I tell you, they went off the shelf quick smart. because of the lack of face-to-face events, I guess, and golf in September was allowed. So that was a great day. Plus, I do understand, although I'm not a golfer myself, I do understand that I have heard that golf is quite popular in Scotland as well. So our winners of the event were UTEC. Highest individual score was Gary Bainham. The longest drive was Corinne Stewart, who drove all the way from Stonehaven. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. And nearest the pin was Stephen Thompson. And thank you to our sponsors for the day, which were Norbit, STR, Unique, and UTEC. Thanks to Alan MacDonald, who are from the Hydrographic Society, who organised a fantastic day. On to November, it was our joint industry event held with our colleagues at SUT and IMCA. This year our event was entitled Sustainability, the Subsea Industry and the Evolution of Energy. Again, nominally this is usually a face-to-face event with industry delegates. However, this year, obviously, it was an online event. It was held over 3 days. We had 24 speakers, and we had 70 to 80 participants online, with Q&A sessions held at the end. It was a fantastic set of 3 days, and it worked really well. And oddly, unlike last week, we had no technical hitches. Although behind the scenes, we did have to work quite hard to get the event going in the end. But thankfully, none of our viewers were party to that until now. So thank you to our sponsors on the day. Again, we had Ashted, we had ETPM, Imenco, Oceaneering, Pangeo Subsea, Reason Waves, and STR. Our producers working hard behind the scenes, as one of them is today, we've got Damien behind the scenes today. We had Damien producing with Laura and Andrew over the 3 days. We had, thanks to our chairman from STR, we had Gordon, and IMCA, we had Nick Huff, and my good self from the Hydrographic Society. And really special thanks to the folks that organised that event, or rather those 3 days of that event. Damien Ling, Jackie Adams, Nick Huff, Gordon Drummond, Nicky Nichols and Andrew Connolly, and the committees from each of the separate organisations, Hydrographic Society, SUT and IMCA. So thanks guys, that was a really great success and a popular event. I would just like to come on now to our Emerging Talent Awards. This is something that we launched at the beginning of the year, and it's aimed to recognise the best and brightest individuals who have joined the Hydrographic Society and energy industry in the last 3 years. We've got a first prize of £1,000, and we've got 2 runner-up prizes of £500 each. So we would like people to enter that. If they know any of the best and brightest individuals, please go to our LinkedIn page and find further instructions on how to join. Who could miss out on £1,000 or £500? Okay, so to kind of round off, you might be pleased to hear for the chairman's report, we had 2021. 21st of January, actually, at the start of this year, we kicked off with another joint event with our colleagues in Norway. We had 3 presentations that evening, and it was a record breaker, 105 viewers. So thanks to our presenters, thanks to the guys from Hydrographic Society and NOSP for organising the evening. So on for the plans for this year. The Hydrographic Society intend to continue to run the same online events through 2021. that were held in 2020. We're currently working with our partners, NOSP, IMCA, SUT, to organise more events for the coming year. These will be published through the usual channels, LinkedIn, and the ones that I don't understand, Twitter and the other one. Thanks again to our Hydrographic Society committee, our individual members, our corporate members, and of course our sponsors. And I'd just like to add very special thanks to Nikki Nichols, who is the person who actually runs the Hydrographic Society, for all her help during 2021. So thanks ever so much, Nikki. I really do appreciate it. So moving on, I'd like to introduce our Treasurer, Kevin Gaffney, who will give you some highlights from the Treasurer's report. Over to you, Kevin.
Okay, thank you, Simon. And as ever, Simon expertly delivered Chairman's report. What I'll do is I'll just give some highlights of the incomes we have and expenditures we have for 2020. But as you can all appreciate, there's been a reduction in the events that we've been holding, which obviously is accumulated to being a reduction in our income. So if we look at the annual dinner, that was a huge success. We invoiced over £20,000 worth of tickets for that, which was again a great success for income to the society. And also we allowed the push for the over £5,000 on the raffle, which again was greatly received by the donations that went out. The next event that we used was for income was the golf day. Again, that was pretty much the same numbers as years before. Again, a successful event on that, and delivered over tickets over £1,300 and sponsorships over £1,000. The joint SUT cinema seminar, which being an online event, had a reduction in income, but obviously not so much a reduction in numbers. But we did have a good showing on sponsorship of that again. So that raised over £2,500 in income and £3,200 in sponsorship. So again, overall income wise for the society was £35,000. Now, because there was a reduction in events, it meant there was a reduction in outgoings, and the highest outgoings was being for the annual members' dinner. So what we accumulated being at the end was we have a bank balance showing there of £36,628, and that's broken into our two accounts: the main account, which has over £22,000 in it, our education account, which has over £7,000, and we have a cash of £4,600, and our PayPal account sitting there at £2,700. So though we've had a reduction in events, we've had a reduction in expenditures, we're actually sitting with a higher total for the year of 2020. And that's a summary of the Treasurer's account, done as excitedly as you can do with figures.
Hello. No, you didn't take me by surprise at all.
Sorry,
then.
Simon.
No, I wasn't reading the comments at all then. Okay, thanks, Kevin. That was yeah, good run through. So appreciate that. Okay, so we need to approve those accounts for 2020. So may I invite a proposer, please? So a proposer to approve the accounts for 2020. I guess they're all going to come through at once again. Okay, proposed by Nikki Nichols and seconded by Duncan Allen. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, election of committee members and office bearers. So this year, myself, Nikki, Kevin, Matthew and Laura have offered to continue in our roles as Chair, Deputy Chair, Treasurer, Deputy Treasurer and Secretary, respectively. Andy Smith, unfortunately for us, has stepped down from his role as Deputy Secretary. But fortunately for us, Andy has offered to stay on the committee, so we do appreciate that, even if it's only to make us laugh and cause trouble at the committee meetings. And when we do have face-to-face meetings, he has been known to tuck into all the grub there. So, but thanks, Andy, for all your help as starting off as secretary, really, and then deputy secretary throughout the year. We really do appreciate it, and thanks for staying on the committee as well. Kate McCubbin has offered to take on the role of deputy secretary this year. We can see there that essentially our committee as it stands has also offered to continue. We've had no members stand down, and as I said earlier, we've had 3 new members elected to the committee, Lynn, Richard and Grant. I would propose that the office bearers and existing committee members are confirmed in their positions, and that the new candidate offered for election is accepted. So may I have a proposer to elect and approve the office bearers and committee members for 2021, please? Kate doesn't know what she's got herself into. So guys, we're after a proposer for the motion to approve the office bearers and committee members. Thank you, Alan McDonald, for proposing. And a seconder, please. And Duncan Allen to second. Thank you very much. Oh. Okay, rather bizarrely, we have any other business, but I'm not entirely sure how we would do that through the comment section of YouTube. Nominally, this would be open to the floor, but may I suggest that if you do have any other business arising from this evening's Hydrographic Society AGM, that you might email us or get in contact with us through the usual channels, which are there's our Hydrographic Society email address. Please also visit the hydrophicsociety.org.uk website, and we have our usual social media channels, in particular the one that I'm most familiar with, LinkedIn. Others are available, so please keep in touch with us for that, for future events and evening meetings, and also don't forget to nominate somebody for the Emerging Talent Award. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. I don't think I've broken Andy's record. We've got 23 minutes here, so I've managed to double his usual efforts. Thanks very much for joining us, guys, and as I say, do keep in contact with us through social media and email. Okay, goodbye, and have a great evening.